Hello, welcome back to Rock Cycle. Today we're going to be looking at BIFFY CLYRO's exciting new album, Balance Not Symmetry. Okay, so just before we get too into the video, I'm just got to do the whole cliche YouTuber thing. If you're new around here and fancy clicking subscribe, would mean a great deal to me. And if you're interested in this kind of content, we're going to be having lots of it coming up on the channel, and we've got lots of it already on the channel, so check that out. So anyway, let's just get into this album. Now this album is a bit different from what we normally know from BIFFY CLYRO because it is a movie soundtrack. So going into that, knowing that before I've heard the album, I was a bit scared, a bit worried, and a bit excited. But this does sound a lot more like the familiar BIFFY CLYRO that we all know and love. It's like, when you know this is a movie soundtrack and you listen to it, I feel you can tell. There's like quite a few instrumentals, a few softer songs, etc. on the album, which you can tell are designed to fit into a movie. But if you went into the album not knowing that, I feel you wouldn't really realise. So I think that's pretty good that this does still work as a standalone album with and without the movie. Now, one of my main critiques about this album is that being a movie soundtrack, I feel like gives them a free pass to do whatever they want. They could be a lot more experimental, they could try all new genres and styles, etc, etc. Because it's basically like when a band tries a new style, when they try a new genre, there's usually a lot of backlash on the band. But being a movie soundtrack, that makes this not an official album per se, as people seem to be saying. So yeah, it sort of lets them try a few new things. And I feel they have a bit on the album, but not as much as I'd personally like. But that is me, I do like my very unique, very experimental and different sounding music, which BIFFY CLYRO is not really usually one of the bands that does that. They're just very straightforward hard rock music. So yes, this does mean the hard-hitting, heavy Scottish rock that we know and love from the band is still here and still continued in the album. It's a very simplistic style of rock, it's just nothing fancy going on, just guitars and drums pretty much, with their strong guitar riffs driving the music forward with passionate and emotional vocals to match and also help the music drive forward and really hit home very well. And I think one of the best examples of this is in the title track, where it sounds a lot more like the classic BIFFY CLYRO we know, and even some hints of their older days when it's a lot more chaotic and energy-packed style rock music. We get some of that in the title track, I feel. But in contrast to that, we also get some more slow, melodic driven, emotional songs such as Different Kind of Love. So this album really does have the full range of styles of rock, from soft to hard, and that's something that BIFFY CLYRO do very well. They can take whatever level of heaviness of rock and do it to perfection. Now this album, I know this is only early days, but the album's done very well critically from what I've looked at, and it's also done very well with the fans from what I've heard as well, so that is a great sign, even if we are only in the early days, so maybe it'll take a few days to get more formed opinions from the fans and critics. This whole album is packed with loads of great songs. Some of my favourites are Tunnels and Trees, Balance Not Symmetry, and Touch. But like, there's a lot of really good songs on this. It's hard to like choose a top three. I did struggle to do that because they're a very consistent band, and that's been shown in this album. Like everything they do, they put it all into, and that has been shown great. There's no songs on the album which you feel are just being added because they need to boost the number of songs on the album. They put it all into every song, and it's paid off well. Now one thing I do feel this album is missing is a classic BIFFY CLYRO iconic anthem, because that's what the band does so well. Like stadium filling iconic rock music is what they are great at, and that's how they've really made a name. Songs like Black Chandelier, Bubbles, Many of Horror, you know the ones I'm talking about, and there's so many more than that. They're so good at doing those songs you just hear for the first time and you know that is an absolutely iconic rock song. And I do feel this album's just missing a song or two like that. Like the title track gets close, but not quite. Maybe if I give it a couple more listens, I'll grow on it a lot more. I mean, I already like it, but I don't think it's one of their best songs of all time. Maybe it just needs to grow on me, maybe not. So on the whole, this is another consistent BIFFY CLYRO album. This is a band that manages to make their music feel new and fresh every time you hear it. Despite not being a dramatic change from what they were before, they can still stick to their genre, do it well, and make the new music interesting, which bands don't seem to be able to do as well these days. A lot of bands that stay focused on one genre become a bit run out of music and styles, etc. after a couple of albums, so well done to them for that. Now this album was enjoyable start from finish, with no bad songs besides the instrumentals, just because I'm not really a fan of that style of music. I'm just going to say, like, I'm going to have to give this 4 stars. Great album, but it is just missing a standout song or two that really defines Biffy Clyro, those style of songs. Now maybe that was the purpose of this album, because it is a movie soundtrack. It's meant to complement the movie, not steal the attention away from it. If you had some absolutely iconic tune playing, no one's going to be paying attention to the movie, they're just going to be paying attention to the music. So maybe it was the purpose of the album to not be too attention grabbing, if you understand what I mean, which is kind of counterintuitive from an album. But I feel that maybe being a movie soundtrack has dragged this album back a bit, because they have to focus on making this work in a movie rather than making it work as an album. I think they have done it pretty well, but it's always going to be a slightly limiting factor no matter how good a musician you are. So that is the Rock Cycle review on this album. If you agree, disagree, or whatever, let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to like and subscribe, that would mean a great deal to me. And I will see you in the next video.